Okay, so just this is my other Windows system. Think it is signal is weak. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Guys, look at here. This is my system. Okay, my system, one system. So this system want an IP address. Okay, should be configured with an IP address. Why we need a IP address? To communicate in the network, right? So we have to configure an IP address to a system. We can configure manually, or you can issue it automatically get configured. First one we'll see how to manually, how to configure manually. So this is one of my virtual machine. If you don't want this one, so you can remove this part also. Yeah, you can turn off also. That is a good thing. Okay. So here it is. It's my adapter. So how to go to network adapter? ncpa.cpl. Sorry, cpl. It will take you directly to the network adapters. So network connections window, you can see only one single adapter it is. That is a good thing. So you can see an adapter is there. I want to check the IP address of this adapter. So I got an IP address. Okay. So how I got this IP address? I didn't configure this IP address, but it got an IP address. It got an IP address from DHCP server. So what happened to my PC? There is somewhere DHCP server in my network. This DHCP server configured me an IP address. Generally, guys, lot of people think by default you buy a mobile phone or a laptop or a desktop. Inside already IP address is there. It is already came with the manufacturer. No, MAC address is already configured by the manufacturer of NIC, but IP address is not configured automatically. It will be get an IP address automatically from DHCP server. Okay, from DHCP server. So like that, I got this IP address from a DHCP server. How I know I got this IP address from a DHCP server? You can see from here it is, I will do some, or maybe like this, or maybe like this. If you look at DHCP enabled yes, means you got an IP address from DHCP server. Not only that one, guys, you have to check other things also. Check the IP address. You got some proper IP address, subnet mask. default gateway. You can see DNS server address. These are a common thing. Okay, either manually you will get this information is there, automatically you will get this information. Okay, so but if you see DHCP server address, it means you got this IP address, subnet mask, and DNS server address from this DHCP server. This is DHCP server's IP address. So from this DHCP server, you got an IP address and subnet mask and default gateway, of course DNS server also. Just IP address you got it from this DHCP server. Okay, another one is lease obtained, lease expiry. Okay, so when you got an IP address, when will be it will expires. So today is the 9th, 10:45, an IP address is assigned. 10:45. I started my laptop at 10:20 only. 10:20, at least 20:25, it will get it. Maybe it is renewed again. So connection and disconnection. So now it is, I get it 10:45. This particular machine, virtual machine, I started late, no, so then it's a 10:45. Got it correct only, correct. It's a 2 hours lease duration. It is. So this part we can discuss later. Okay, but important is you got an IP address from DHCP automatically. What is this, guys? What is this physical address?
Sir,
Anyone?
MAC address. MAC
Very good.
address.
This is a MAC address. Physical address is nothing but our MAC address. Very good. So you guys remember then. Okay. So this is our IP. So this is how to check an IP address, which is already we know. Just one second. We got IP address from DHCP. So, for example, I do not have DHCP server. I want to configure IP address manually. I want to configure IP address manually. So what I will do, go to the adapter, right click, go, you can go to status or you can directly go to properties or double click also, no problem. So if you go to properties, your window will open directly. No sir, I will go to the status or double click on it. Okay, if you double click like this, you can see. Then you can go to properties. Already IP address is configured by DHCP, but I want to configure it manually. To configure manually, so again, go to properties, IPv4, because we are using IPv4, we are not configuring any IPv6 here. Okay, just click on IPv4, make sure it is selected. IPv4 properties. IPv4 properties. So you can see two options. You can see two options. Okay, you can. So if you reduce, then Guys, can you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Yes, we can continue. So internet, so we are in a classroom part, so that's why signal weak, signal disconnected. Okay, the first option is to get an IP address from DHCP server. Obtain IP address automatically. So I want to get an IP address from DHCP server, then you should select a first option. In case you have a DHCP server in the your network. And this is one also, obtain DNS server address automatically. So you want to get a DNS server address. This address also from um, DHCP server. So this is first option is goes for a DHCP server. So obtain IP address automatically means I want to get an IP address from DHCP server. So get an IP address from DHCP server. Just in case I selected second option. This is obtain IP address automatically. This is so first one is for from DHCP server. What is the second one? For manual configuration. So you want to configure your own IP address for yourself. Just you have to give IP address, for example, 10.0.0.2. Okay. And subnet mask, it is a class A. So class A subnet mask. And gateway, if you have a gateway, so like a you have a gateway router kind of stuff, then you can give the gateway address. And in your network, you have a DNS server, then you can give the DNS server address. Okay. So address can be anything, guys. So not a can be anything means not a random address. It has to be your gateway address. It has to be your DNS, local DNS server address. Okay. This is how to configure manually. So I'm configuring manually here. Okay. So same network I'm configuring 172.16 network. Okay. Otherwise I cannot communicate with this PC. Okay. Some oh it is another one. It's on 194. Some 122. Maybe it is there already existed and not existed. I don't know. 172, 16, 192. Yeah. So network is a subnetted network. So compulsory you have to follow same kind of network. See it is. I must know what is my original physical network. So based on that only, what network we are using in our network. Based on that only, I have to configure. Otherwise, it won't work. It become different network. See, this I'm giving wrong IP. So carefully you have to give type IP address. Even this 122 can be available. Okay. Some other PC may be configured with 122. I don't know currently. Okay. Just I'm configuring based on my network. So I'm checking again what is my IP address. So this is my IP address. It is showing no internet. So we'll see that one later. So I know my network. So based on that only, I configure. You can observe DHCP enabled. You can see DHCP enabled no. No means manually configured IP address. So this IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS server address, we configured manually. And where is DHCP server address? It is not there. Why? Because of we configured IP address manually. If it is configured by DHCP server, it shows DHCP server address. Okay, you can see this is
Sir,
DHCP and
what
yeah,
sir? What is the time period for the IP address that we set manually? You said the if you configure the IP address by automatically, then it has a certain lease period.
very good,
But
very
if
good,
we set yes,
very good. It's a good question actually. Okay, you configured by DHCP server. DHCP server put a some lease period, maybe 2 hours, 4 hours, or 8 hours, or 8 days. Generally, by default, it is 8 days, so we can change it. So if it is wireless type, 6 days. Wide type of a connectivity, it is 8 days. Depends upon your DHCP server, and it may be 2 hours, sometime 4 hours, one day, like that 8 hours. So this lease period is there if you are configured by DHCP server. But if it is configured by manual configuration, so manually IP address is configured, so there is no lease duration. Okay, not a particular lease duration it is. So this IP address can be changed only when if you want to change it. Okay. So whenever you want to change an IP address, then only we can able to then only the IP address will be changes. So manually
okay, sir.
configured IP address. Okay. So very good. That's lease duration is also not showing. DHCP server is not showing means IP address is configured manually. So you can observe this is manually configured means DHCP enabled no, and DHCP server address also not showing. Lease duration is also not showing. If it is configured by DHCP enable yes, and you can see there is an IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS server address, and mainly DHCP enable yes, DHCP server address, lease uptime, lease expiry. So I can tell what is lease uptime, lease expiry also, but don't get confused. But if you understand up to here, that is good. What is this lease uptime and lease expiry, guys? I am working in an organization, okay, and there is a DHCP server. So I came in morning, I connect my laptop, so I got an IP address from this DHCP server. So one IP address is assigned. For example, it's a dot 10 is assigned to me. So what is this DHCP server will do it? So it will tell like this is PCA, A PC got a IP address of this dot 10. Okay, like that. So DHCP server first, what are the IP addresses are given to this connected devices. So what will happen? So I connected, I worked, my work is completed, I left. And almost all everybody, not only me, right? So there are so many people working in organization. So everybody is connected to network. So they got IP address from the DHCP server. What DHCP server will do, to whom it is given an IP address, it make a list. For BPC, what IP address is given. For CPC, what IP address is given. Like it will maintain a list. Because of this list, same IP address cannot be given to another PCs. Okay, so that's why it is list. Like I put a list. So to this particular system, I given this IP address. Particular system, I given this IP address. So because of I have a track of IP addresses and systems. So same IP I cannot able to assign to others. Why? Because already it is assigned. My shift is or left to the home. Okay, then I disconnected my laptop and went to home. Another shift people came. Now for them, again, DHCP server has to give an IP address. But as per the list, all IP addresses are completed, already given. So they cannot give an IP address to others in generally. Okay. So like that, if you are once it is assigned, if it is noted, it is already assigned, it's difficult for a DHCP server to assign a new IP addresses because it's a IP address range is there. So I have 100 computers, 100 connections are there, 100 IP addresses range will be mentioned. So release from 10 to 110, 100 IP addresses from DHCP server. Already there is a morning duty people, 100 members got IP address and disconnected. But list is saying already these people are there and IP addresses are completed. Okay. So the list is not refreshed. So what happened? So other people cannot able to get an IP address, even though there is less connections. That's why it is maintain a least duration. So it means, yeah, I said no, already it will be a little confusion matter. Meaning is, I got an IP address at 10 o'clock in morning. DHCP server put this APC got IP address of .10 at 10 o'clock. For example, lease duration is 4 hours. It means 2 o'clock in afternoon. So 14:00, this is the lease duration. So DHCP server list maintain up to afternoon 2 o'clock. So what is the expiry? This is the expiry time. This PCA at 50% of lease duration means at 12 o'clock, it's send a renewal message. It will renew the IP address. Means as long as this device is connected, it try to renew its IP address. If it is disconnected, it cannot renew. So DHCP server cannot update the message. Yeah, so it's a big story. We'll see that one later because you have to see that one practically. Guys, lease duration is it will given a certain period for a lease. When 50% of lease duration completed, the client will updates IP address. Yes, I'm still in online. Please increase my lease period at a 50% of lease duration. Means it is so 12 o'clock, right? So then it is at 11:45. It has send a message to DHCP server. So please extend my lease duration. Like it will extend. If it is fails to extend, so once time ups, so DHCP server remove the client information from the DHCP server. So IP address become free. Okay, so don't worry. Um, I'll go back to the lines part like this one. Then I will explain once again the differences also. Guys, understand how to assign an IP address manually?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So what is DHCP? Of course, DHCP is a protocol and there is a DHCP server also there. Dynamic host configuration protocol. Port number is 6768. Okay. Guys, I given a list of protocols and port numbers. Please read it by heart. If you want, whatever you want to try, you can try. Okay. DHCP server assign an IP address to clients PCs automatically. So I got an IP address from DHCP server automatically. What I have to do it? So I have to put a obtain IP address automatically. In my system, IP address should be get automatically means it will get an IP, it will try to get a IP address from DHCP server. Okay, so this is main point of DHCP. Second, we can assign an IP address automatically, means from DHCP server you will get an IP address. Or you can assign manually also. If you assign an IP address manually, the IP address we call it as a static IP address. Static IP address. So this is the static IP address. That's why you ask question, right? That is good question. That is. So why lease period is not there? So lease period is not there because it's static. So it won't be changed automatically. Even you change the network, like I disconnect here, I connected in my home. Even that time also I don't get a different IP. Okay. So this is always same. So I have to change again if I go to home, then again I have to change IP address based on my home network, based on that network. So I have to change my IP address manually. Otherwise, it won't be changed automatically. That's a manual thing. That's why that IP address we call it as a static. Always same IP address until unless you change it. So user manually configure IP address to the computer. The IP address never changes with the change of network also. Okay. More number of devices increases. For example, if you are in an organization, so you are in an organization or maybe in a college lab, computer labs are there. So if you see there is a lot of computers. One PC is okay, but if you have a 10 PCs, okay. If you have 100 computers, you have to go to each and every PC and you have to assign an IP address. Okay. You have to assign IP address for each and every PC. For example, think like a 50 PCs are there, 100 PCs are there, 200 PCs are there. It's very difficult to assign an IP address. Lot of administrative burden. Each and every computer administrator has to go and give an IP address. Wrong IP address possible. So while you are typing an IP address, there is a possibility of wrong IP address, right? So I want to put a 172.16 dot something dot something. Instead of that one, I put a 172.168. Or some people put a 192.16. Okay. Network is different. Original network is look like this one. People change the network. If they change the network part, automatically it cannot communicate. Not everyone. Okay, one more is there. No conflicts. What is meant by conflict? If in case I assign a same IP address to multiple devices. For example, here I assign 172.16, 11, some 12. For this one also I assign same 172.16, 11, 12. So accidentally I assign two or more devices with the same IP address. So what will happen? These are won't communicate each other. Not only won't communicate, these devices, these two PCs won't be communicated by any other PCs also. So other PCs will confuse same name, same number means it is a confusion. It's a conflict. Same address for a two or more devices is conflict. So those devices cannot communicate it to anyone or to themselves or any other devices also they can't communicate. It's a conflict. So wrong IP address giving a possibility. Conflicts can be possible. Not everyone knows how to assign an IP address. I know how to assign an IP address. It is good, but not everyone in the organization or maybe in everyone in the home. In home also we have multiple devices. We have a TVs, okay, mobile phones, laptops. People are using laptop, but they don't know how to assign an IP address, right? Okay, not everyone knows how to assign an IP address. And not only computers, guys, there is a lot of devices nowadays we are able to connect in the network. Example, smart TVs nowadays. Mobile phones, your mobile phones, smart printers, Wi-Fi printers, network printers kind of stuff. Okay. It is at least bigger, but think about smart LEDs, smart Wi-Fi's, that Alexa, Echo Dot, so some of those things are there. Na? So these are our devices want to connect in the network means it need an IP address. It's not much easy to give an IP address to them. Okay. So here is the point is manually configurations issues. Guys understand the what are the things
Yes, sir.
in a manually. Of course, manually configuration is also sometimes important because you have a device and you're given an IP address that is in your home or maybe in your office, it should has always same IP address. For example, there is a network printer, always must have a same IP address. Okay. Or maybe there is a server, always must have a same IP address. The IP address should not be changed with your DHCP kind of stuff. So that time compulsory manual IP address. Automatic configuration. So you got an IP address from DHCP server automatically. Automatically means it is dynamic IP address. IP address is dynamic. So today I got a one IP address. My work is completed, closed. Tomorrow I connect, I may get another IP address. So same device may get a different IP address, depends upon the DHCP server. Like it's not a constant IP address, not always same IP. If you change the network, for example, I connected here, I got an IP address. I went to my home, then I got another IP address based on that network. Okay, based on that DHCP server. So DHCP server assign an IP address to the clients. The IP address can be changed frequently. You got one IP address now, maybe after you restart your PC or maybe you connect and disconnect, or maybe next time you may get a different IP, not always the same IP address, not guarantee. Sometimes you will get same IP, sometimes may not. When we change the network, IP address also changes automatically. So you went to, sorry, I went to home and I connected my own home network. I went to my home town, there I connected. So it can get another IP address. So you change the network, IP address also automatically changes. Okay. So no or less conflicts, less wrong IP address entering because server is giving IP address to the clients based on their scope. Automatically, it will give IP address in that one only. So it won't give some random network address. It will give within that scope only. So it is possible no wrong IP address entering or a conflicts. Everybody is not required to know how to assign IP address. Not every device is required to assign IP address manually. It is quite easy to give an IP address. Number of devices increases. If you have a DHCP server, so DHCP server assign IP address automatically through the network. So you need to get a confusion between how to assign an IP address, what IP address I will get it. So you no need to worry about it. Automatically, you will get an IP address from DHCP. So just connect it to the network. In the network, already DHCP server is there. It will give you an IP address. So admin or a user no need to worry about how to assign an IP address. That's the point. Different devices automatically get an IP address from that DHCP server. Okay. If you see guys, this is a DHCP server. These are the devices A, B, C, D. All are in the network. In DHCP server, there is a scope. So in the it is configured like this. give IP addresses to the clients from 1.10 to 1.110, 192.168.1.10 to the 192.168.1.10. So APC is started. Um, Guys, already yesterday I told one point, that is server provide a service, client access the service. And also I told one another point, that is client has to send a request. So server will give you the service response. You send a request, it will give response. This is server, this is client. Mhm. Server and client. So client will request to the server about a DHCP related request. So I want an IP address and it will tell you take IP address. Of course, there is a process. That process I will explain now. Better not now. So just look at here. Okay. So APC, their DHCP client is a APC is a DHCP client. Ask DHCP server IP address. DHCP server send an IP address to the client. So 192.168.1.10. BPC ask an IP address to the server. So I want an IP address. DPC ask a DHCP server, I want an IP address. Whatever. Okay. So why CPC I didn't draw? CPC is a manually configured. Okay. For example, a PC IP address is configured manually. It's not a DHCP client. It never asks DHCP server. Okay. I want an IP address because it is already having an IP address, so it is not required to ask a DHCP server. Okay. So DPC is ask a IP address to the DHCP server. This is the DHCP server SN and IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DHCP server address and DNS server address and lease duration part also. Okay, so manual configuration. So why it is okay? So look at this. I said DHCP server. What is this DHCP server? It can be a Windows server. I take Windows server. I configure DHCP role. Okay. I install DHCP role and I configured it. Okay. So then it become a DHCP server. Or maybe I take a Linux machine and I install DHCP related package. Then I configure this DHCP scope. Then it become DHCP server. But in your home, or maybe in your office, or maybe in your college, you may not see any DHCP separate servers. In home, definitely. But in home, what is your DHCP server? Which one is act like a DHCP server? Your Wi-Fi router. In your Wi-Fi router, they configure DHCP configuration. So then automatically your Wi-Fi router is your DHCP server. Okay. So that's the point.
Sir, what if I connected to mobile hotspot? Then which acts like a
Yeah,
DHCP
very good
server.
question. Yes. If in case you are using a 4G network, so you got a data connectivity, so then you will get a IP address from your mobile service provider for your mobile. But if you share your data through Wi-Fi hotspot, then your Wi-Fi hotspot in your mobile, there is separate DHCP service. First, it will assign an IP address when other person is connected to your mobile or your laptop, you are connecting with the laptop. So when they connected to your Wi-Fi hotspot, so once connection is established, IP address will be assigned from your mobile hotspot service on using that
Oh,
DHCP service.
okay, sir.
Actually, these are a few steps. Thing is, Dora process kind of stuff is there. Okay, I didn't think so. You can able to understand and okay, but try just a basic thing. Maybe in future you learn about a networking or a server, so it is very useful. Already said, guys, client and server. This is DHCP server. This is a DHCP client. In network, we have a so many devices are there. Okay, not everyone is a DHCP server. Not everyone is a DHCP client. Okay, so entire communication goes by broadcasting only because of client do not have IP address. For a client, I said obtain IP address automatically, but I didn't tell to the client where is the DHCP server. Even I don't know where is a DHCP server, right? I don't know about anything about a DHCP server. But for a client, I said obtain IP address from DHCP server automatically. So what is this client will do? It broadcast a packet. It broadcast a packet called a DHCP discovery packet. DHCP discovery packet. Okay. So client broadcast a packet. When server receives that packets, so the server will respond like this. Yes, I am a DHCP server. What is this DHCP discovery packet? Very simple. I don't know who is the DHCP server. So client is asking to everyone, are you a DHCP server? Are you a DHCP server? Like that. So for each and every device connected in the network, the client will ask them, like, what is your, so are you a DHCP server? Like that. Okay. Are you DHCP server? So finally, the packet is reaches to DHCP server. It will tell, yes, I am DHCP server. It offers an IP address. It offers IP address. It offers an IP address. So DHCP server is telling to the client. Even DHCP server do not know where is the client because client do not have any IP address. Okay, but it will tell with the MAC address like I am the DHCP server. I have this IP address. Do you want it? So client will understand. So DHCP server request once it is received, again it will ask yes, I want that IP address. So it will send a request. It will send a request packet using again broadcasting only, guys. So client will ask DHCP server, yes, I want this IP address. The server is finally give the acknowledgement with the lease duration and other configurations. Okay, so acknowledgement. So this process is a DHCP process called as a DORA process. Discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. So I draw this picture, you can see the DHCP process or a DORA process, client send a discovery packet. Server receives and give offers to the client. Do you want this IP address? So client send a request to the DHCP server. Yes, I want a IP address. Okay, I want this IP address. So the DHCP server give an acknowledgement with a full configuration. Discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. Guys, understand somewhat? So how client is getting an IP address, the DHCP
Yes,
process.
yes, sir. Got the point.
Okay, so I will tell this point and then we'll take a break. Before going to that one, once again, we'll see important things. What is DHCP? What is the DHCP server will do it? DHCP server assign an IP address to clients automatically. Or you can say DHCP server configures IP address to the client PCs, client devices. Not only computers now, devices also like that one, right? Assign IP address, assigning of IP address both manually and automatically we can assign an IP address. You assign manually means it's static IP. If it is you got IP address from DHCP server, it is a dynamic IP. So there is a advantages and disadvantages, both the things. So you configure IP address manually, so the IP address cannot be changed automatically. Even though you change the network, IP address cannot be changes. You have to change it manually again. A lot of burden on assigning IP address in case of multiple systems are there, multiple devices are there. Wrong IP address entering or maybe conflicts. Not everyone knows IP address and difficult to assign certain devices uh, also. DHCP, so DHCP server assign an IP address to the devices automatically or configure IP address to the devices automatically. So when they connect into the network, by default, the client is a DHCP client, it will get an IP address from DHCP. If you configure any device manually, so it's not a DHCP client, so it won't get an IP address from DHCP server. Okay, assigning of IP address and understanding, is it a DHCP wise configured or manually configured? So these things compulsory. Okay, yeah. The last point is APIPA. APIPA. Yeah, that for that one I will try to show you. Okay, this is manually configured IP address, guys. I am configuring automatically. So IPv4 properties obtain automatically. So I said to my adapter, so I said to my system, so get an IP address from DHCP server, obtain IP address automatically. So it is trying. I think there is some disconnection is happened. So it won't get an IP address. Okay, because of there is a certain bindings. Yeah. So now what I want that output is I got it. You can observe this. Yes, DHCP enabled. Yes, means DHCP. Get an IP address from DHCP server. That is good. But what is this IP address? It's not look like as our earlier network address. Subnet mask is there, of course. Where is default gateway, DNS, and where is DHCP? If you are configured from DHCP server and your DHCP server address will shows where it is. Where is lease duration? It is showing yes, means get IP address from DHCP. It's a DHCP client, but you are getting an IP address like this. And no default gateway, no DNS server address, and mainly no DHCP server address. If you see guys, 169.254, okay, as the first two octets, 169.254, and also it is showing auto configuration. So this IP address is APIPA, automatic private IP address, automatic private IP address, APIPA address. What is an IPPA? You have a DHCP server or may not, but you are failed to get an IP address from DHCP server. Maybe DHCP server is not there, or maybe you are not connected to the DHCP server. Okay, you are not connected to DHCP server, or maybe DHCP server is not working. So in that cases, you fail to get an IP address from DHCP server. See, APIPA, automatic IP address. If you see an IP address, first two octets is 169.254. It's APIPA address. You can see DHCP enable yes, but you cannot see DHCP server address and no least duration kind of stuff. It's kind of problem error. If system is unable to get IP address from DHCP server, system assigns an IP address itself from APIPA range. So there is an IPPA range. It is 169.254.0.1 to the 169.254.255.254. A system assign an IP addresses itself from APIPA range. Okay. Again, so if system fail to get IP address from DHCP server, what system is doing? It assign an IP address in the APIPA range. Okay. So what to do? So where is the issue? Maybe this connectivity issue, client related problem, or server side problem. So whatsoever it is, first check the network connectivities. Next, go through the DHCP if possible, and any DHCP related troubleshooting, you have to do it. Still, you don't get an IP address. You still it is showing a APIPA address. What to do? So there is a two things. One is disable enable the adapter. So you can right click on the adapter. So I will try. Where is this my adapter? Just right click, disable the adapter. Now it is disabled. Enable the adapter. So it will try to refresh and try to get a IP address from DHCP server. Okay, let's try to get a IP address from DHCP server. It won't get because of I changed the network. Okay, so I disconnect from Wi-Fi. I connected to another network. So do not worry. I go to settings and the network also I'm going to change. So bridge it to this. Okay. Don't worry. Now the connectivity is good. Okay. Yeah. Now I got this symbol means I'm connected. So backside the connectivity is not good connectivity. I connected to different network. I didn't get it. Now I will get an IP address. So I got some IP address. Okay. Because the wide connectivity, so different IP set a network I'm getting. See, DHCP enable yes, address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS address, DHCP server address, release uptime, DHCP enable yes. Means I got a IP address from DHCP server properly. If in case still it is showing a APIPA address, I said disable, enable. Or you can do one more thing, that is go to command prompt, type ipconfig release. What is ipconfig release, guys? It removes the currently configured IP address. It remove the current configured IP address. So it is removed that current configured IP address. You can observe unidentified network. Then I will try IP config renew. So it means try to get a new IP address from DHCP server. I given first command is remove the current configured IP address. Second command is get a new IP address from IP address. Is a spelling mistake? Yeah, it's a spelling mistake. Config. So get an IP address. See, it is the status is changed. So I got an IP address, some IP address. Maybe same IP address or different IP address, but it removed the old IP and got a new IP address. So either you can do disable and enable part also. Not only this troubleshooting, guys, also another troubleshooting. APIPA troubleshooting. Second one is, of course, in APIPA, important is you have to check the connectivity and DHCP server related also. Then you can troubleshoot your client. And another issue is there. For example, I connected my laptop in a network. In one network, I got an IP address. Good. DHCP, I got IP address. Now I disconnected. I went to another network. Means I went to home. I connected there, but my IP address is not changing. So I changed my network. So initially I connected to one network. Now I connected to different network. So when I connected to another network, but my previous network IP address only it is showing. It's not showing current network. Okay, it's not IP address is not updated. In that cases also you can do this troubleshooting. Okay, so IP config space slash release it flushes or removes your old IP address, configured IP address. That is must be dynamically configured. Static IP addresses cannot be removed. IP configuration, so the get new IP address from DHCP server. That's it. So guys, this is about your DHCP server. Okay, so you have to read once more because I told small points so many. So compulsory read it. So take a break, come back, and then we will discuss about a DNS. 15 minutes break.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.